Yes, this, I think this should be considered probably as a piece of light entertainment in the middle of our rather serious presentation, because it's all about a magic trick. Somebody asked me actually why I had selected this paper, which feels a bit random, and actually it does. In fact, the guys who did this paper, they presented it as a poster, and their poster was all black, with like a little bit of parchments for the titles, and they're like magic wands. And of course, the title, of course, is refers to Harry Potter. You know, like fantastic beasts and where to find them. And they were referring to Professor Dumbledore to this, and they were really, and they said that in the paper that they feel it's like a magic trick, right? And it is like really a bit like a magic trick, and their extension, I mean, the Gumball trick first of all is, and their extension I think it's fairly magic as well, so I find that fun. Also, what I found interesting was the fact that I think of sampling myself as usually a way, like a Monte Carlo, a way to get an approximation of something precise but attractable, and so you have to resort to sampling as a way to get a second best approximation. In this case, it seems that you have something which is intractable, but if you let go of the deterministic side of things, and if you go to sampling, then you get something which is exact, which is precise. So I found that interesting to see sampling as a way to get 100% accurate as a paradox. To me, it was interesting. Anyway, so without further ado, so this idea basically is to connect the idea of sampling and the idea of beam search, which we will review like quickly. Beam search, which is a deterministic trick to improve search in trees. When the trees get exponential, you have to restrict the search. And that's a way of reconciling this deterministic trick and a probabilistic trick, which is the Gumball trick. And it concerns, of course, distribution of those sequences, hence the idea of trees. So beam search, well, the idea is, as I said, it's sequences following the chain rule that every next sequence is in the chain depends on the previous elements of the chain. So it's a kind of a like stochastic phenomenon. When we make the hypothesis of independence, that is, you can actually factor all the probabilities together, which is something fairly standard. And usually, the way our models work, to determine the probabilities at each stage, which is a kind of multinomial probability, we use the softmax. So we have like we produce a log probability, which we exponentiate, normalize, and we get the probability. So this is again fairly standard, but that's the context in which the beam search operates. So if we have a tree in which at every stage, that's the first step of the sequence, typically it would be a sentence to forecast. If at every step I look at all the possibilities and again and again and again, of course it becomes exponential. If I have like 10,000 words, which is kind of typical vocabulary, obviously it becomes intractable after a few steps. So we can't explore the whole tree and then select the itinerary, the path, which has the maximum probability. So one way to do this would be to do the greedy search. Here I select the most probable next step, 40%. Then here I select the most probable 50%. So I select this branch. And of course the probability is 20% at the end. In this case, of course, it fails. If I had selected this 35% and here 80%, I would have gone to, not too sure, it would be something like 26%. And anyway, it would be more than this one. So selecting the greedy search here, using the greedy search, you fail to select the best case, which of course is a risk because there's no guarantee that you will get to the optimal one. So the idea of the greedy search is in fact simple. You widen the search. Here it's a beam search of width 2. So you have to select the width, which is an integer, which will be the width of your beam. So what you do here, it's 2. I select I look at all my children. I take the 2 best one because 2 is my width. Yeah. Then I look at all the children, but only of these two best ones. And from all these children, I keep only two. And if I was to continue, I will look at all the children of these two, and again select only two. So in fact, you open, and then you keep only the width of 2 or k in general. Then again, okay, so you search following this kind of parallel beam, hence the name. And of course, it's linear in search as opposed to being exponential. Actually, if you put k equal 1, you get back to the greedy search. If you get k a very, very wide number, you get back to generating all the tree. So is that all right for the beam search? This is a quick reminder. So the Gumbel tree, that's the, of course, really cool part in my view. So the Gumbel distribution is related to the extreme value theory. I don't know if everybody is familiar with that. It's a bit like the central limit theorem. But instead of saying that when you get to the average of independent, identically distributed variables, and when you average them, you get a Gaussian, what it says is that if you have a series of independent, identically distributed variables, the same premises, if you take the max of these variables, if it converges, which is not guaranteed, but if it does, it will converge to one of 3 distributions, one of them being the Gumbel law, in fact. I think that the outcome, the distribution depends on if you have bounds to your initial distributions or other factors. But in any way, it's interesting to understand that I think it's a fairly general result, by the way, that this idea that the maximum of IID variables follows a law, or like 3 laws. I think it's pretty cool in itself. And Gumbel, that's where it comes from. And the form of it is there's 2 parameters, shape parameters, like one location parameter, one shape parameter, or scale, phi and beta, and it's the exponential of minus the exponential of, well, in essence, minus x. So that's the CDF, the cumulative distribution function. It's quite easy to see that the limit in minus infinity is 0, and the limit in plus infinity is 1, and that it's a monotonous growing function. So it's indeed a CDF. The beauty of it is that because it's a closed form, contrary to the Gaussian, it's easy to invert. And the invert is this factor phi minus b log of the minus log of x. And because we can invert it, we can actually sample it exactly and very easily. That's the usual way, right? You take a uniform function on 0, 1, and if you take f, the inverse of f applied to u, basically you get something, this function g follows a Gumbel. From now on, actually, we consider that this beta equals 1. That's the general form of the Gumbel. For this practical exercise, we take beta equal 1, which is the scale factor. Okay? So we have this sampling function, phi minus the log of the minus the log of u being our uniform distribution, and this follows what we call Gumbel of phi here. And it's of course to be noted that if we define a new g prime by saying it's g plus phi prime, then of course it shifts basically, adding 1